All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles, the elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect scattered out the four corners of the earth, to the men on the highways and the byways that are pushing out this word of truth and sincerity, and to the remnant men, women, and children of the elect. To you all, I say Shalom. My name is Ahyash. I'm back with another lesson through the power and spirit of Yahawashi, and I want to jump into a quick lesson going into, as it says here on my screen, I pulled up this article from Deloitte.com, and it goes into the future of retail banking. Okay, and if you've been paying attention at all, you know, the U.S. House just declared, you know, July 14th is crypto week, getting prepared for these new digital assets, this new system that they're about to implement, you know, this new digital payment system that they're about to implement to prepare us basically for the new world order system, you know, that one world currency that all, you know, that everybody will have to, and when I say every, I mean all nations, as the scripture says in Revelation 13, you know, it says, basically every man, rich and poor, free and bond. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't matter what nation you're from. It doesn't matter, you know, what status you are. It just doesn't matter. You know, you're going to have to be a part of this new system, and where this thing is heading, this concerns us all, right? And at the end of the day, it's Bible prophecy, you know. So that's why it's important. That's why we have to report on it. That's why we have to keep abreast to the information that comes out. You know, the articles that are coming out, the information. Whether, you know, on the internet, you'll find, you know, stuff on, you know, all these different social media outlets, and, you know, again, all these articles and just the information that's being shared, because the Lord is revealing, you know, the plan, right? The Lord is revealing Esau's plan, okay, because the implementation of the MOTB has to take place, right? But the infrastructure has to be laid out, okay, in order for it to take place. All right, so that's very, very important to know. It's very, very important to understand. All right, so it says here, it says the future of retail banking. All right, and this is from Deloitte.com. It says the future of retail banking. It says 10 moves to help you turn uncertainty into advantage. Retail banks is at a crossroads, facing shifting demographics, accelerating technological advances, and rising consumer expectations, and all in an increasingly crowded financial services ecosystem. How can banks not only stay competitive but thrive in the future of retail banking? Explore 10 strategic moves to help banks take control of their trajectory. Okay, so I just want to read this. It says, thriving in an evolving environment, and it's absolutely 100% an evolving environment, because it's very soon they're not going to be this, you know, cash and paper money, okay, is going to be a thing of the past. You know, the way people bank, the way people walk into banks and handle transactions are going to be completely different, okay? And step by step, as they introduce each piece, you'll see it completely change. And that's how he's always done things. He's always have gradually changed his systems, and that's what he's doing now. You know, he's kicking the can down the road, gradually putting piece by piece, until the next thing you know, you're going to need a micro C-hip in your hand in order to function, in order to go to the grocery store, in order to visit the doctor, in order to go to school, in order to function in society. You're going to have to partake in this evolving environment, whether you're a bank or whether you're just a regular citizen, man. All right. It says banks are navigating an increasingly crowded financial services ecosystem where collaboration and competition have blurred traditional lines and introduced new players. Layer in an ambiguous regulatory landscape, mounting fraud pressures, and the ongoing need for cost vigilance. And the question isn't simply how just to stay competitive, but how to thrive and excel in this evolving environment. Okay, it says thriving requires more observation. It demands action, and the retail banks have proactively shaped the future will be the ones that lead it to not only, yeah, and how you shape your future is to completely conform to this new system. And I'll read a little bit about how that's going to take place. Okay, it says not only attract but retain customers, banks must sharpen their value propositions, rethink internal operation, and invest in capabilities and people that help them connect in more meaningful ways. This is especially crucial as it becomes easier than ever for customers to change how they bank and who they bank with. Now it says digital innovation, tailored service models, and strategic partnerships will be key, as will preparedness for regulatory changes and a strong technology infrastructure. And that's really what it comes down to. The digital innovation that's going to take place within these banking systems, the strategic partnerships as they partner with like companies like Ripple and XRP and Stellar, and they're going to implement their system into banks. Like banks are going to have to adopt this whole new format, okay, in order for them to stay afloat, in order for them to compete, okay, in order for even function. All right, and it says as will preparedness for regulatory changes and a strong technology infrastructure. Those regulatory changes is going to be law. Okay, banks are going to be regulated by these certain laws and legislations that's going to force them to, adopt this new system. Okay, and this new technology, as it says, this new technology infrastructure, because it's all set up under this new advanced technology. Okay, this fourth industrial revolution is driving every part of the society. Okay, and what's more important than the digital infrastructure? The economic infrastructure. Okay. All right, it says, I think that's all I wanted to read on here, but I just wanted to go back now because I pulled this up. This whole new system and this regulatory framework is called the ISO 20022. Okay, and I just want to read it. It says the ISO 20022 CBPR Plus migration is a program by SWIFT to transition cross-border payments and reporting messages from the legacy MT format, which currently being used by banks, to the new ISO 20022 MX format. This migration began on March 20, 2023. Okay, so the migration began 2 years ago. Okay, and will continue through 2025, during which time both formats will be supported. So they started implementing this new system 2 years ago, and they gave banks the opportunity to, transition and adopt the new system, learn and grow and do all these different things and train their staffs and all this different type of stuff. Okay, so during that 2-year period, both of these formats are being supported. Now it says the goal is to provide financial institutions with a globally consistent data model for enhanced reporting, compliance, and reconciliation. So November 2025 is basically the deadline for these financial institutions basically to get their shit together and fully adopt this system. All right, and that's what we're looking at. That November 2025 date is extremely important. It says key aspects of the migration: coexistence period. A period where both MT and MX messages will be accepted on the SWIFT network. That's the current system. So it's coexisting right now. Both of these messaging systems, when it comes to cross-border payments and it comes to financial messaging, both of these systems are completely coexisting with one another. It says end date, the end of the coexistence period, and the date of ISO 20022 will become the sole standard. Okay, that's important. This will become the sole standard for cross-border payments on the SWIFT network is November 2025. Okay, so that's the key date. Focus on CBPR Plus. The CBPR Plus program specifically addresses cross-border payments and reporting messages within the SWIFT network. Benefits of ISO 20022. It says, it's lucky for the noise in the background. I'm actually outside doing this lesson. I got their sprinklers on, so it's lucky for that if it lifts too loud. It says benefits of ISO 20022. The new standard is designed to offer richer, more structured data, leading to improved data quality, validation, and interoperability between systems. Okay, hold on one second. Let me pause the video. All right, Salakia for having to pause the video. I was about to be interrupted by some loud noise. I didn't want to interfere with the video. But continuing on, it says I'm gonna read that again. Benefits of ISO 20022. The new standard is designed to offer richer, more structured data, leading to improved data quality, validation, and interoperability between systems. Okay, and when they implement all these things, they're going to implement it in a way where it's all beneficial. And that's what they're going to do with this entire new system. How it's going to benefit you, how it's going to make it more convenient, how it's going to be more efficient, so on and so forth. It says impact on financial institutions. The migration impacts financial institutions using the SWIFT network for cross-border payments, requiring them to adapt the new messaging format. The exemptions: some users like corporates using JP Morgan's digital channels are exempt from the current timeline and can continue using MT messages. All right, which obviously that's going to change. Testing and validation: financial institutions need to conduct thorough testing to ensure their systems are compatible with the new format, okay, including address formats with validation rules or collaboration. It says collaboration with vendors and partners is crucial to avoid delays or compliance issues during the migration. So they're training their staffs, and they're coming up with and making sure they are compliant with the regulations, so that they can function in this new system. Let me see. Is this what I wanted to look at? There was something else that I wanted to show in this lesson. Oh, yeah, from the Federal Reserve. Okay, so this is the article I was reading. It says, this is from Federal Reserve website.org. It says ISO 20022 implementation rescheduled to July 14th for FedWire Fund Services, which I was just talking about. July 14th was the date that they set, okay, for this whole implementation. This article going back to February 13th. Okay, so it says, for the past several years, the Federal Reserve has worked with the industry to prepare for the implementation of the new ISO 20022 message format for the FedWire Fund Service. The industry has made significant progress and accomplished many key milestones. And if you notice, this stuff goes under the radar. This is not what you're going to find on your CNNs, on your Fox Newses, on your mainstream news stations, okay? Because most people are financially illiterate and they don't understand how banking, cross-border payments, they don't understand how the economy works. So, and it's that's intentional, okay? Obviously, these mainstream media outlets have been all bought and paid for by elite bankers, and they push certain agendas, they push certain political views, standards, and stances, and they don't want you knowing and understanding how the economy works. They don't want you understanding how the payment system works. Right? They don't want you understanding, the workforce, truly understanding the workforce and labor, and how taxes work and how insurance works, and how to take advantage of the tax codes and the laws and what regulations you have to follow. They want to keep you completely blind. They want you to have a very, very, very extremely low basic understanding of how to operate, so they can take advantage of you. You know what I mean? And I just wanted to mention that because when you first start to look into this stuff, it could be confusing. It could be confusing for the average person because you're just not used to hearing this type of language, right? You're not. Most people don't know what FedNow is. Most people don't know what Fedwire Fund Service is. Most people don't know what the SWIFT system is. They just don't know because it's not taught to them. It's not something that you see on a daily basis. Most people are concerned with their social media account, and most people are concerned with their actual 9-to-5 jobs and, just the little bit of coins that they got in the bank, and what they need to do to, they hear a little bit about inflation, but won't really understand how it works and what it is, and I mention all of that because this stuff is going to be at the forefront very soon. Okay, this is the type of stuff that people are going to want to know and understand as they get closer to implementing it. All right, it says, for the past several years, Federal Reserve has worked with the industry to prepare for the implementation of the new ISO 2002 message format for the Fedwire service. The industry has made significant progress and accomplished many key milestones. All right, basically saying that they're about to roll this thing out. It's getting closer and closer. However, after careful consideration of industry requests and assessment of customer readiness, FRFS has decided to reschedule the Fedwire Fund Service ISO 20022 implementation from March 10th to July 14th, 2025. This will provide customers and vendors who are not ready additional time to better prepare for the transition to this new ISO 20022 format. Okay, so banks and institutions are preparing. Again, they have to train their staff. They have to make sure they understand the regulations and being compliant with them, so that they don't, for lack of a better word, default on, the requirements and what's needed for them to operate under this new system. All right. It says the Fedwire Fund Service will remain on the current message format. All right, until July 14th, FRFS will announce its final go or no-go decision for July 14th, no later than June 27th. All right, and it says, take action. Share this information with your operational and technical staff, along with your software vendor. All right, urgently review your entire wire ecosystem, and this is for the banks, to ensure it is ready to continue to process FAIM formatted messages. All right, so all of this stuff is information that's coming out, speaking on this new system, speaking on the new digital payment system and what needs to happen, how it's going to go down, who's involved, things of that nature. Let me see. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to mention. Let me see. I already spoke about the Swift MS and MT. Let me see. Was there an article? No, that was it. Let me just go into this quick little, I wanted to play this video, just a quick 2 minutes on it, just to give a little bit of better understanding of what this whole, because the if you see the title, it says the silent financial reset. Okay, what ISO 20022 really means. Because when you read articles on what ISO 20022 really means and the transition from this SWIFT system to the new system, they basically just tell you that it's a new, more efficient system that's it's faster, it's more efficient, it's less manual work, things of that nature. They pacify exactly what it is. But I'm going to play the first 2 minutes because he speaks on it a little bit and it caught my attention as soon as he said it. So let me play this real quick.
Financial language is being adopted. A new financial language is being adopted across the globe. It is silent, technical, and largely unnoticed by the public, yet it is shaping the future of money itself. That language is ISO 20022. It is not a policy or a treaty. It is a structural shift that enables central banks, sovereign states, and financial institutions to redesign how value moves.
It's a structure to redesign how value really moves. Okay, so whether it's goods, services, whether it's from payments from one person to the next, one country to the next, one institution to the next, right? It's a whole new entire system.
It was first designed in the early 2000s by the International Organization for Standardization. It It was tested over the following years across pilot infrastructure and selected payment systems. By 2004, it was formally introduced. Its adoption was initially limited, but its potential became clear as financial systems evolved. Now, 2 decades later, ISO 20022 is becoming the global backbone for digital value exchange. This is not simply about speed or efficiency, it is about control, sovereignty, and the architecture of global digital currencies. As Western
and what he just said is what I really want to touch on to end this lesson. I'm going to play the last 50 seconds or so, but I'm going to go back to exactly what he just said. Let me play it one more time.
Backbone for digital value exchange. This is not simply about speed or efficiency, it is about control, sovereignty, and the architecture of global digital currencies.
It's not about speed or efficiency, but it's about the new architectural, basically design of these global currencies, these digital currencies, okay? So what they tell you is it's about, it's about speed and efficiency, blah, blah, blah. But no, it's about control, okay? It's about this whole new architectural setup. Okay, and again, you don't hear that when you read these articles. You don't read that when you read these articles, or when you go to the space. You really have to really dig a little deeper to understand what Esau Edom, what this man is trying to do with this new system.
As Western and Eastern systems diverge under Basel III, ISO 20022 ensures overall convergence. The implications are far from neutral, and they are far from finished. As we've discussed numerous times on this channel, Basel III promotes financial compartmentalization, separates risk, strengthens national resilience, allegedly, and encourages monetary divergence, crucially. It reflects a world in which financial blocks are being redrawn. Meanwhile, ISO 20022 moves in the other direction. It creates a universal structure that links systems together, even when they are allegedly opposed politically or strategically.
Okay, so it says, what did he say? Let me have him read that. Let me have him say that one more time.
The direction. It creates a universal structure that links systems together.
It creates a universal system that links them together. Okay, now watch what he says here.
Even when they are allegedly opposed politically or strategically.
Even when this system is going to link them together, and even when they are opposed strategically or politically. Okay, why is that important to know? Okay, why is that important? Because at face value, it seems like, and not it seems like, because these different countries are, you have the BRICS nations, versus, you have the United States and their allies and their systems, and they seem opposed strategically. You see how they are, putting tariffs on one another, and all these different issues that you see globally, financially with them. They may be opposed at the moment, but this system actually links them together, okay?
It is the basis for digital currencies that can operate independently, yet still that links.
Hold on 1 second, let me just let this pass because it's kind of loud. All right, let me play that one more time.
Systems together, even when they are allegedly opposed politically or strategically. It is the basis for digital currencies that can operate independently, yet still crucially interconnect. Of course, SWIFT has driven global.
Okay, so and here's why that's important. I want to read this really quick, because when you read this article here, all right, and I mentioned this at the top of the lesson. All right, this is from financialservices.house.gov. It says the House, okay, reading the House of Representatives announces week of July 14th, that's crypto week, right? So it says the House of Representatives looks forward to considering the Clarity Act and the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act and the Senate's Genius Act as part of Congress' effort to make America the crypto capital of the world. It says we are taking historical steps to ensure the United States remains the world's leader in innovation, and I look forward to Crypto Week in the House. After years of dedicated work in Congress on digital assets, we are advancing landmark legislation to establish a clear regulatory framework for digital assets that safeguards consumers and investors, provide rules for issuance and operation of dollar-backed payment stablecoins, and permanently blocks the creation of a central bank digital currency to safeguard American financial privacy. Okay, right? So they're basically declaring these acts to safeguard Americans, so-called, from the creation of the CBDC. That aligns exactly what this man just said, okay, on how they seem disconnected strategically and politically, but this system is actually going to link them together. Okay, so what it seems like on face value, what you see, this man has a plan, because again, it comes down to the elite bankers who are actually behind all of this new stuff, this new system. They're the ones that are behind the implementation of the MOTB. All right. So that's what you want to keep in mind. He also said, and I wrote it down because, I forget sometimes, and, I just want to make sure I'm being accurate with the information I'm reporting. It says, what he said at the beginning of the video, it says, it's not simply about speed or efficiency. It's about control, sovereignty, and the architecture of global digital currencies. Okay. And that's what's important. When you see this new transition, they're going to introduce it as it's going to be more efficient. It's going to be faster. You're going to be able to send cross-border payments and make these transactions faster with more efficiency. But it's not about that. It's about control. It's about sovereignty and the architecture of global digital currencies, which all of these nations are going to partake in. Okay, which basically is the full implementation of the CBDCs. Okay, so that's what you have to understand. That's what we all have to understand about what's going on, what's happening, this whole new financial reset. All right, and let me just, because this lesson has been going for 26 minutes, and I didn't plan to have any scriptures. I just wanted to bring out this information and just, go into Revelation 13:16, as we do, because this is the scripture, this is the biblical prophecy that leads right into it. Okay, this is what we are anticipating. This is one of the three really last major prophecies that's ready to take place. Okay, and we're reading about it. This whole lesson has been about this scripture here, Revelation 13:16. He calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand on their foreheads. Okay, so everything that we see, the implementation of these new systems, you're going to have that mark, that charagma, in your right hand on your forehead. It says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or his number of his name. And all of these nations are going to agree on this. Okay, they're not going to be any disagreement when it comes to this. Okay, because again, the elite bankers are behind this, and they're the one pulling the strings here. It says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, the 666. Okay, it says, here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is a number of a man, and his number is 666. Okay, and that's what we have to, and this is what we are looking forward to. Okay, we're looking forward to this new system. We're looking forward to. When I say looking forward to, I don't mean in a good way. I mean we're looking forward to it for the sake of Bible prophecy. We want out of this place. We want this thing to roll out because we want out. We want out of America. We want out of Babylon. We want out from up under Esau, Edom, and his evil, wicked, because this is witchcraft right here. Okay? Coercing people and tricking people into thinking that they got their best interests in mind. Okay? Through all of this new technology, acting like this is beneficial to them. They really just want transhumanation and want to stick a micro C-hip into your forehead or to your right hand and have absolute, complete control. All right? This man is bloodthirsty. He's control thirsty. Okay, but the Lord has different plans for him. Okay, the Lord has different plans for him. This is Job. I believe it's Job 14, if I'm not mistaken. I just want to make sure. Yep, Job 14:5. It says, seeing that his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee, thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So, yeah, the Lord will allow this man to implement this system, but it won't go very far. Okay? It won't go very far. Okay, because Yahawashi and the angels are going to come and disrupt this man's whole plan. World War III will take place. The elect will be beamed up, and we'll be out of here, man. And Esau and his power structure will be defeated, and that's what we look forward to. All right, so I'm gonna end it there. I hope you were edified. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders, the elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect. Shalom.